Hello, good afternoon. We start with breaking news, and the man who murdered the former prison officer Lenny Scott has been sentenced to a minimum of 45 years in prison. Elias Morgan shot and killed Scott in what the prosecution described as an act of retaliation after Scott exposed a sexual relationship between Morgan and a female prison guard at HMP Altcourse in Liverpool. Well, Lenny Scott's mother, Paula, spoke to reporters outside court following the sentencing.
Lenny was most proud of his 3 children. They were his world. He spent every moment he could with them. They adored him as he made them feel loved, safe and seen. The children's mums have become good friends since Lenny died through their shared love for Lenny as the father of their children. They are devastated and miss Lenny so much. He was always there for them as well as the children. They will ensure that the children grow up together and continue to have all the experiences and adventures that Lenny had planned for them. They will make sure they never forget Lenny's love for them and that they grow up with the same values and principles he had. We are so angry that Lenny was killed because he was doing the right thing, doing his job well with pride and integrity and maintaining his strong values. Despite being threatened by Morgan, he stuck to his values and followed prison procedure. He lost his life standing up for what was right. Morgan has no regard for the impact of his actions. He not only has stolen Lenny's future, but he has stolen our future with him. Lenny now won't achieve all the things he was working towards, all the plans he had with his children, his chance to see them grow and flourish. That has been taken away from us all.
Well, our North of England correspondent Fraser Maud is live for us outside Preston Crown Court. And that was a sentiment that was echoed by the police as well on the court steps, wasn't it, Fraser? That this was a man of integrity who was killed because he did the right thing while he was at work.
That's right, Jane. An act of revenge, killed, according to the police and his family, for doing the right thing, for standing up for what was right. This was a murder that was 4 years in the making. It happened in February 2024, but it dated back to an incident in 2020 when Lenny Scott was a prison officer at HMP Altcourse in Liverpool. He found during a cell search a mobile phone belonging to Morgan, and on that phone was evidence of a relationship between Morgan and a female prison officer. Initially, Morgan tried to bribe Lenny Scott not to hand the phone in. Then he began to threaten him instead, at one stage telling him that there was a car of one of his associates parked outside Lenny Scott's house, and described his partner, his children and his house in great detail. Lenny Scott was so worried about that, he rang the police on 101 and informed them that he feared for his family's safety. And then 4 years later, in February 2024, when Lenny Scott had been to a gym in Skelmersdale, by this time no longer a prison officer, this complicated and meticulously planned murder was carried out by Elias Morgan. It involved a minibus, a minivan with a bike inside it, both of them on the back of a low loader, taken to Skelmersdale with false plates on all of the vehicles. The e-bike then taken out of the vehicle, ridden to the gym where Lenny Scott had been training, and then in the car park and in full view of CCTV cameras, Morgan walked up to Lenny Scott, brandished his gun, shot him 6 times in the head and body, all of the shots finding their target, and efforts to save Lenny Scott's life, sadly, were fruitless, and he died later in hospital. In court today, very emotional for those listening, not emotional for Elias Morgan. He sat in the dock, emotionless throughout the proceedings, bearded, wearing glasses, a T-shirt and a fleece. He remained impassive despite hearing really emotional witness impact statements from the 2 mothers of Lenny Scott's 3 children, the first of them the mother of his 2 twins, saying that their world was torn apart when he was killed, how he adored his children, how all he ever wanted to be was a dad, and how the boys would ask if they could get an aeroplane to take them to heaven so that they could see him. She said it tore their lives apart. Secondly, we heard from the mother of Lenny Scott's young daughter. She said, again, that he was an amazing father, said that you're in my heart and mind every second of every day. And then we heard from Paula Scott. We've just heard from her now, but when she gave her statement, she spoke directly to Morgan in the dock and called him a violent and inhuman coward. The judge, His Honour Justice Goose, then explained that if Lenny Scott were still a serving prison officer when he was murdered, then it would have been a full life term for Elias Morgan. However, because of the level of planning, the fact that he was a former prison officer, the fact that this was a revenge attack for events that had taken place when he was a prison officer, then it was still of particular seriousness. It fell short of the whole life term, he said, but he said that Morgan was a man who was used to getting his own way through threats and violence, so needed revenge when he didn't get his way. Failing to give him a whole life term because of those reasons I've just explained, he handed down a life term but with a minimum of 45 years before Morgan will be eligible for parole, and even if he is released after that date, he will forever remain on police licence.
Fraser, thanks very much.